Anyone that has spent time in the men's self-help world will vouch for the tremendous value it has brought to their lives and a lighthouse that online resources have served as in men's pursuit of excellence. But in this video, I want to play devil's advocate. I want to shed light on some elements in this online manosphere that prove to be a cure that's worse than the disease if taken in an access dose. These are people and ideas that stand under the umbrella of the manosphere, but at their very core act in abeyance of our positively masculine ideals. So let me walk you through the many things wrong with the manosphere and the MGTOW movement, so we can put our house in order before we externalize our problems. I believe the MGTOW in particular is a philosophy that does not resonate with the spirit of the manosphere. It is unfortunate that a defeatist and nihilist worldview like going your own way is made a part of their identity by many modern men. The MGTOW does not champion accountability or taking action. Instead, it asks you to give up and walk the other way. It asks you to ignore women and relationships and feel a smug sense of entitlement in your own hustle. I will break to you a fact about the world that should form the basis for your views on intergender dynamics. Men need women and women need men. This is the inescapable truth about life, not just in procreation, but in leading a fulfilling and happy life. Walking away from women is never the solution. Sure, there is a plethora of things wrong with modern women and the dating market, but that is no reason to seek shelter behind a cowardly worldview that forces you to give up and lead a lonely life. That is not the masculine imperative and does not befit a man. And then there is a small but vociferous cadre of men in the manosphere that have almost hijacked the valuable ideas in the men's self-improvement space and capitalized on them for their own selfish agendas. These are people that project a dim light of what our community represents into the outside world and become a cause of derision and ridicule for men that simply want to lead better lives. Take the example of Roosh V. Do you know who that is? He's the guy that made me cringe in my masculine skin every time he came on television and made me want to disassociate him from anything to do with me. He would go around blatantly shaming and ridiculing women, and his rants would mostly come from a place of bitterness and resentment instead of a place of security and healthy masculinity. It is guys like this that make the manosphere toxic when it wasn't at all meant to be so. These elements don't realize that they are doing a disservice to everything they stand for and are a danger both to us and the outside world. Here's something else that can potentially be dangerous about the manosphere, and that is how men are sometimes led down the MGTOW rabbit hole and give up dating and relationships altogether. Forget the harm they do to our image, just imagine the kind of life that those men live. Lonely and forgotten, they live a lifestyle that is the antithesis of everything that has traditionally helped men in their masculine pursuits. They don't have a progeny, no children to love, and no woman to come back home to. Their lives are marred by grandiose self-affirmations and a thinly veiled sense of entitlement. They think they need no one in their lives to complete it. But even in the dark silence of the night, think of the beautiful life they could lead with a woman and family by their side. Understand that what defined a high-value man is not cowering away from his responsibilities and problems, but instead facing them directly. These black pill doomers are all obsessed about can't-fall tilts, but don't have enough self-discipline to be able to go to the gym and work on themselves. This defeatist ideology swallows their lives and leaves them hollow shells of the man they were destined to be. And then there's the red pill PUA, who is completely far gone in the opposite direction. They mistake the number of women they get and the notch count on their bed for a measure of their self-esteem. They have chosen the worst possible metric for leading a happy life, and their entire mental model is the manosphere twisted and taken to the extreme. I believe this is the dominant view of the manosphere by people on the outside with not much else to gauge us from, and these PUAs certainly do a piss-poor job at representing this healthy and positive community. This is in part what I blame the manosphere for, because I have simply not seen enough pushback to these ideas from big proponents of the red pill and the men's rights movement. We need to do a better job at diverging ourselves from the toxic elements within us and ultimately hurt our cause instead of helping it. There is added risk that is easier and more subtle to seep into the minds of many young men in the world, but it's something that I have noticed and worked to fight against. It is the counterproductive habit of looking at the world through a red pill lens and being led to externalize the causes of your problems in life. This is precisely the opposite of what this movement was meant to be. It was supposed to empower you instead of making you feel like a victim. It was meant to teach you ultimate self-accountability instead of making you always look outward for the causes of your failure. This is against the masculine imperative and teaches you a demented worldview that does not serve you well in life. Masculinity throughout history has been about utter accountability and responsibility. This is what defines an alpha male. It's not just power and dominance, but a sense of being responsible to the people in your tribe. A man that turns his glance away and refuses to look at the problem like an ostrich is teaching himself the ways of beta men thinly masked in alpha bravado and masculinity rhetoric. Combating these ideas is the first step towards doing the necessary house cleaning that I believe every community needs to do. But for that to happen, we will need to be upfront in pointing out the bleedingly obvious despite the repercussions or criticisms we might face from our own quarters. The community I want to be part of is a group of high-value men banded together with a shared goal, and that is a goal that encompasses not just us as individuals, but our wider society and the world. We want to become better so we can make the world better, and that should be the goal of our self-improvement pursuit. If that sounds interesting, this is exactly the kind of community we are building here. We are men that are dedicated to a life of larger meaning and purpose, while building ourselves into men that other people want to admire and replicate. So join us in this pursuit and add to the army of men helping each other on this noble journey. Like the video and hit the subscribe button to never miss another valuable update. The content you find here is the gems of wisdom you need on this path to greatness. As always, stay strong and stay humble.